Hello! I'm going to recap the final season of Parenthood, Season 6, starting with Episode 1, premiering on September 25th. This episode is entitled Vegas, probably because the majority of the beginning takes place in Vegas, where an incident happens with the father Zeke. Sarah surprises her father by taking him on a surprise weekend to Vegas for his birthday. Happy birthday, Zeke! Unfortunately, the evening turns sour. While they're playing in the casino, Zeke collapses on the floor. And, it's a really dramatic moment because, it was Zeke and he was being like, Sarah, shut up. And then he just kind of froze. And then you just see him fall and you're like, what? What happened? And then the next time you see him, he's in the hospital. It's not a heart attack, but it's probably a heart problem or heart-related issue. So everybody starts calling everybody. Camille is calling all of her kids, and Adam's calling Sarah, trying to get information, and Sarah's like, Adam, I can handle this, and Adam's like, I didn't say you couldn't handle it, but Mom wants me to talk to Dad. And Adam is being very Adam about it. He's being very, I'm the responsible one, and I need to be informed all the time, and I need to fix everything, which of course extends to him and Crosby actually going to Vegas to check on their dad. Crosby is just upset that he didn't get invited to Vegas. So when they get there, Sarah supposedly has everything under control, but of course Dad sneaks out, doesn't tell anybody. Zeke being Zeke. Even in the hospital, he was telling Dr. Off, telling him that he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's like fresh out of high school. He's not going to spend his birthday in the hospital. No way. Sarah kind of has to, be the mediation between, getting her dad the treatment that he needs and getting him to do what the doctor tells him, and also being like, well, it's my dad's birthday and, I don't want to, stress him out anymore. So they decide to, spend the night in Vegas once everything seems to calm down. Of course, there's still an underlying issue, which is why when they return home, Camille makes an appointment with his cardiologist, and the doctor says that he doesn't know what happened, and he doesn't like not knowing, and so what's going to happen is he's going to do some tests, and in the spoilers for next week and for the rest of the season, we're going to find out that there is a problem, and he's going to need surgery to fix it. Of course, this is Zeke, so he's not going to want to do that. So this whole drama has a big effect on Joel and Julia, who everyone was so angry to find out are not together at this point. We had a big gap of time between last season and this, and in the last season finale, we saw them, bonding over Sydney, and they were, holding hands while they were lying in her bed, and everyone's like, oh, they're gonna get back together! Everybody was hoping that that's where this season would pick up. Unfortunately, we see Julia having some fun times in her bed, and then it's not Joel. Who are you not, Joel? Who the heck are you? Where did you come from? You're not Ed, which I guess is good, but seriously. Julia goes over to see her mom to comfort her when her dad's in the hospital, and all Camille can talk about is Joel. I saw him and I saw the way he looked at you, and, you never should give up on a good thing when you have somebody like Joel. And Julia is just like, I've been waiting, and I'm not going to wait anymore. I want to live my life. And of course, all of us are pulling our hair out. Julia, no! We want them to be together. We want their kids to have their parents together. Because that was just heartbreaking last season with Sydney and how she just had to pull on her father and beg him to stay in the house. Joel kind of steps up when his family is in trouble. He hears about Zeke and he's worried too, so he agrees to stay with the kids. And then Julia comes home and she's all really distraught. She gets a text of a picture of all of them, her siblings and her father in Vegas, and he's fine, and she lets her relief go because she was trying to stay strong for her mother, but of course Julia is the master at putting on a brave face and then crying 2 minutes later. Joel comforts her when she kind of breaks down, and he kisses her as just kind of a reflex. And Julia's like, whoa, we really can't do this. And he's like, yeah, all right, I'll go. Julia goes to work, and that guy, not Joel, Mr. Lawyer, comes in and he's like, I really like you, and I think we should try to make this work. And Julia's reaction is not totally convinced, because we all know she's still in love with Joel, but she's trying to move on. But is she ready for this? I don't know. We'll see. But later on this season, Joel's probably going to want to talk about them, and Julie's going to be like, well, I wanted to talk about us before, but you weren't there, so We know there's a huge gap of time because Aida is starting to walk, who, curiously, is a little bit blacker than she was as a baby. But, they're a colorful family, and that's what we love about Parenthood. Huge cliffhanger from last season. Amber bought a pregnancy test, and in the first second of the new season, we find out she is pregnant because the first scene takes place in a hospital at an ultrasound machine, and we see Amber's baby, which is probably about 3 to 4 months along at this point because the doctor said they're getting, the time restraints for an abortion is closing. She asks Amber the question, is this a baby that you want? And at first Amber's like, I don't know. I haven't told my mom, and Ryan moved away with his mother. But later she tells Hattie, and Hattie's the only person who knows at this point. And, they're having great cousin bonding on the football field, reminiscing about old boyfriends and talking about Hattie's relationship. It's great banter between the two girls, and it's really lighthearted and funny, and Amber's actually making light of the fact that she's pregnant, she's like, is this a good or a bad thing? I don't know, you tell me. Hey, be careful with me, I'm with child. As all Parenthood scenes do, they're really funny and lighthearted, and then they get down to serious business, where Hattie says, Amber, it's really important that you tell your mother, and I'm sure you'll feel better about it, and maybe it will help. And Amber takes this to heart because the ending scene of this episode was Amber at her mother's place, and Sarah's just going off about their dad and talking a lot, and Amber just blurts out, I'm pregnant! So Christina and Adam are in the middle of building their school, which is called Chambers Academy. They've spent the entire summer building the space and getting it ready for the new school year. The construction guys aren't really doing so hot, so they call in the reserves. I'm talking every single Braverman kid and relative is at this school painting and helping with plumbing and fixing things and just getting things organized. Max, of course, has had a really tough time transitioning into mainstream, and he had a very bad experience. Some kids peed in his canteen, and that, just drove him off the edge last season. And that's what inspired Christina to build this new school. Unfortunately, Max had such a traumatic experience, and he's so, in that mindset with his Asperger's that he can't really think of an alternative to this. And he wants to stay in his safety zone at home, and then doing Hank in the afternoons. He needs his routine. And that's what he's comfortable with, so he absolutely refuses to go to this new school. He can't do that change. Christina and Adam both reinforce that they're trying to make this school something that's really special for kids and to give the kids who don't feel safe in a normal school a place. But then, as Max's character usually does, is he thinks about it a lot, and it's usually in the background, like you don't see him make that decision, but then suddenly, a few days later, he'll come back and go, oh, okay, I'll do this, or I feel better about this now, or I've changed my mind about something. And so that's what happens, because Christina is just so happy at the end. It was a teary moment when Max showed up at her school. And it was such a simple scene, but it made you, emotional. That's Parenthood. Sarah's, involved with Hank now, and his daughter is moving back because his ex-wife is really struggling to make ends meet and really struggling to take care of this teenager that's in her house. They just butt heads on everything, as most teenage girls do with their mothers, and Hank is going to have to step up and be that 50-50 parent. And maybe Hank's new responsibilities as a father will come into play with his relationship with Sarah. We'll see if Ruby becomes an adjusted teenager. Romano has really great exchanges with Sarah. His slight Asperger's comes out really well, but not too much. It's really, really interesting. How is Sarah going to react to Amber's pregnancy? How is the school going to turn out? How is Adam going to take the news about his father? What's next for Hank and Sarah? A lot of great stuff coming up this season. We are going to give Parenthood the goodbye that it deserves.